Hello friends, so today I'm going to demonstrate how to run Cloud Run functions using Gemini on Vertex AI. So Cloud Run function is a function as a service from GCP. So what you can do is you can write your own code and the things like containerization and all, it will be automatically taken care of. So what we are going to do is we are going to run Cloud Run functions and it is going to connect with our Gemini on Vertex AI. So Vertex AI is the managed ML offering from GCP, and there are plethora of models, including Gemini, which are there. So essentially, what we are going to do is we are going to invoke a REST API endpoint, which will be running on Cloud Run function, and this is going to call our Gemini API. So this is how it will look like. So if you see, this is the URL which I have deployed, and it has two endpoints. One is health endpoint, and I'm just going to run it. So basically, it gives you a message that this service is running. So this function as a service is running with this endpoint. And the other one is something like this. So again, if you see, it has a endpoint called summarize, and you can pass a text and it is going to use Gemini to summarize. So for example, I'm just going to demonstrate right now. So it is going to summarize this. So this is how it went and summarized it as a markdown. So this is what we are going to build. So let's get started. So here I am on my Visual Studio Code. So I will be running my code on dev containers. Who those are new to this channel, dev container is one way to run Linux machines on Windows. So basically what you can do is you can build your own development Linux environment on Windows. So that's what you can do. So I will start with something pretty basic. So what we have is we are using this version, which is Python 3.12 Bullseye. So Bullseye is a Debian version that we are using, and we have to install some standard packages. So all of this code will be available on GitHub. So maybe I will not go into much details, but basically we are spinning a Linux machine. We are installing some dependencies, and we have something like requirement.txt where we are going to install some Python packages like fast API, Velox, and Google Gen AI for sure. And if you see the code as such, it is pretty simple. So what we are trying to do is we imported all the libraries which are required, including fast API. So the API that we will be building will be a fast API. That is what we are going to deploy on Cloud Run functions. And then what we are going to do is we are going to also use HTTP bearer. So what does it do? So with HTTP bearer, what is going to happen is you will be able to do some authentication. So what will happen is at runtime when we will deploy Cloud Run functions, we'll be providing it a credential, a bearer token, and anything which is talking to this Cloud Run function has to give those credentials. So it's good to test as such, and let's say make it little bit secure. That's why we are going to use it. So that's why we are using HTTP bearer as such. And this again is a standard code for implementing the HTTP bearer. And the two endpoints which we will have is something called health. So basically what it is going to do is it is just going to return you hello running, just to test. And the other thing which we need to do is we have a function called summarizer. Again, very very basic endpoint. We are going to make it much more complex later, maybe in some other parts of the video, but this is what it is going to do. So it accepts some text which you send from here. So this is the text which we are trying to send, and then a very very simple prompt that summarize the following clearly as markdown. So it summarizes, it puts as a markdown and returns this. So this is what is it is going to do. And if you see, we have put it in a format called Velox, or I would say framework called Velox, which lets us run fast API in the Cloud Run function. So you can't run fast API directly, and with this package called Velox, you can run Cloud Run functions as fast API. So that is what it is. It's a pretty basic code, and this is how we are going to run it. Now there are some setups required which I will cover. So here is the setup which you have to do. So again, as I talked about, we are using Debian within dev containers. So you need to install few things. Again, this code will be automatically available using GitHub. So you can use this. So basically what we are doing is we are installing something called Google Cloud CLI. So with Google Cloud CLI, we can deploy, all our code into Cloud Run functions. So few things are required. So once you need to install Google Cloud CLI, then what you need to do is you need to, put this command gcloud init here. And what it is going to do is it is going to authenticate you. So it is going to, open the browser and it is going to validate that you are the correct user. So once you try to do that, you have to have, some permissions which are given. So again, I have all the steps written here. So basically what you need to do is once you are in here in the console, I will be using this as a console. You need to enable all the services. So let me try to, run these things just for you to, authenticate or validate. So basically what you try to do is you enable few services. So as of now, once I connected with my GCP account using uh, gcloud init, I have a default project and I have all the services which I need enabled. But I will require much more services. For example, I would require artifact, I would require, AI platform and all. And what this is going to do is this is going to enable all the services within my project. So my project will have all the services enabled. So this is what it is going to use. And once you do it, what you need to also do is you need to have the role of IAM platform.user also. So think about this, that you are using your cloud run function in a separate project, and this project requires to work out with, the Vertex AI platform. So what you do is with permission, you will be able to access it without any key or credential. So it is going to automatically connect. So this is what you need to do. And once you are done, so basically you have all the services enabled, you have the, correct roles enabled, then it's pretty easy to do. You just need to, do use this function, and what it tries to do is it is going to see the current file which is main.py. It is going to, put it into the cloud as such, and it is going to build the container on the cloud. So if I run this, just, running for the reference. So what we are trying to do here is source dot means, use this repository, and then go to, Python 3.13 as base image. So select my Python as 3.13 base image. I have specified region, which is this. Then I have specified what are the environment variables we will be using as such. So we'll be using some API token. Again, you can change it. Then we will be using Vertex AI, which is there we invoke the IAM, and then we will have Google Cloud location as global. And we have something called allow unauthenticated to make sure that it is, deployed on public URL. So that's what it is going to do. So what it is trying to do here is it's taking the code, making it containerized using the parameters here Python 3.30, deploying it, and after some time it will give me the same endpoint, and then everything will be accessible. So that's what it is trying to do. So let's try to wait and see if it can deploy. So post this video, definitely I'm going to, delete all of these. So at least this will be not there. So this is my service URL. If you see, this is my service URL. So if I directly, go to here, I will have, nothing. So let's say it will say that this endpoint is not there, not found, because we don't have any endpoint. So if I go to health, it will again deny because I haven't provided bearer token. That's why it said invalid or missing token, because we have a bearer token. If you see here, I have a, again, this is the same API endpoint. I have a bearer token, and this is the token which I'm using. And that's why it is responding properly. So yeah, team, this was the, demo for Cloud Run functions. It was a pretty basic demo. Maybe going forward, I will provide some more complexity. Till then, thank you so much. Bye.